everybody, to another episode of the Demand Chain Manufacturing on Demand. I am Andy Moldenhauer, and with me, as always, is my friend John Graff in Janesville, Wisconsin. How you doing, John?
Hello. Hello. How is everybody?
We are all doing good. Checking in with you, John. Our last episode, we had our trebuchet, and you had some agreements with your neighbor, the bakers. Is everything going okay there?
Oh yeah. We came over, made a whole big ordeal out of it. We shot some fruit back and forth between the two lawns, and it was a blast of a summer because of it. So good relations amongst neighboring states, I'll say.
Very good. If this is your first video that you're watching, go back and watch our last episode on sales agreements. You'll learn all about manufacturing cloud sales agreements and have a little fun with John's homemade trebuchet, which is pretty neat. In this episode, John asked me to cover forecasting, and since up here in Minnesota we have all four seasons, I have all of that covered and ready to go. So I thought I would build out a forecasting mechanism for John, and I'm going to reveal it to you right now. Here is John's forecasting stone, and this is gosh, prehistoric AI, I think. If stone is wet, we know it's raining out. If it's dry, it's not raining. If it's white, we know it's snowing. If it is moving, we know it's windy. And I think the best one here, if the stone is gone, there's been a tornado. So, John, I'm going to ship this down to you and consider my part of the episode covered of bringing prehistoric AI for the weather community to handle forecasting. And I'm pretty sure that's what you wanted me to do today for this topic.
Absolutely. I mean, that must come from the top meteorologists in the US, one of the best forecasting details that we have out there. But honestly, we do have some really great forecasting tools now available to a lot of our manufacturers. I know for quite a long time, it's very difficult to get all the information right together in one place. So let me show you guys what I have prepared this time around. It's a lot of fun. So this week we're going to be account managers specifically for Crocodile Shops, one of the best automotive appliance gear type of shops that are out there within the US, right? We can look at our account and see some basic details, of course. We can look at our related list and see, oh, these are the opportunities that they've had throughout the year. Here's a sales agreement that shows what our expected sales are. Here's the orders that are coming through. This is a lot of disparate information. And right now we're only seeing the very, very top of it. We want to be able to see everything all at once, right? Well, you can go a little bit deeper. You can have an analytics page in here and show some of the basic detail. But in reality, you're going to want your sales folks to take a look at all of the information in one place and be able to even make their subjective interpretation of the data to say, hey, I know that maybe in the sales agreement, they're going to be ordering 300 work boots in the month of September. But I talked to them recently, and I know that number is going to be higher and or lower, right? So it gets you a chance to actually provide that input. All of this is just the standard regular CRM out of the box stuff that you're going to get with Salesforce generally. But how do you put everything together to make one large forecast, right? Again, you can look at the sales agreement, and this is what we talked about last time, Andy. We talked about being able to look at, all right, well, we've got the activated carbon. We're going to get 500 in August and September, August, October. And then the actual quantities will upload based off of the orders, or maybe an upload through API from your ERP system. That's a lot of letters back to back, isn't it? But really, the key to this advanced account forecast involves it's called the Advanced Account Forecast Set Use. That's a mouthful, isn't it? I refer to it as the set use. But this record right here is going to give me the forecast context for Crocodile Shops. Now, through configuration, we defined what our dimensions were. We want to break down what the product category is and what the product is, and maybe even the ship from location, because they're all over. They're going to be ordering from different locations. That's going to help our inventory management to be able to say we should be expecting to have X number of these shipping out of Eastwick, Maine, in the month of October or November, etc. Uh, Now we add in all of the different products that are relative to the team to Crocodile shops, and we also add all the ship to locations. But more importantly, this is what's great. Your metrics are unique. We've learned that throughout the years, Andy, you and I working with manufacturing companies, everybody's tracking roughly the same thing, but there's always a little bit of a variance on what you want to be able to identify. What's your definition of actual gross margin? I know if you go to an economist, they'll give you one definition, but if you go to a regional sales manager, they're going to give you three other definitions as well. So you're going to get to be able to come in and say, I need to set my actual gross margin, and this summarizes all of that information that you saw back there on that account. So it's summarizing the opportunities that are in the pipeline. If you want to look back historically, you can summarize here, let me change from the current period to a set of periods. We're going to look all the way back to February of 24, April, May, July. We're looking at all these periods here. So we can go back historically and see each one. I picked each period. We could set a range. We can walk through and scroll through the whole thing. We can add more of these measures that are out there. Now,
So yeah, John, let me ask you a question. So this the way you have it set up here is pretty good, but can I customize what I'm seeing in those measures for my business? Or
absolutely.
something from Salesforce that's coded.
That's kind of the big selling point Salesforce has had forever is that you can customize nearly anything that you got in here, right? So I define what these measures are. I define what the dimensions are. These measures can be rolled up or summarized from your opportunities. They can be summarized from your sales agreement or your orders. If you have a custom object that's out there, if you want to say, hey, what's currently in stock at Eastwick, Maine right now for this particular product, we could summarize that if that information exists within Salesforce. Not only that, you can grab it with CSV or an API integration and grab that information from an external system and roll that in as well. The tool we're using for this is called the Data Processing Engine. DPE is what I refer to it as. Huge, amazing tool that allows you to summarize tons of information without necessarily hitting any of your flow processing limits. It's fantastic. Absolutely.
So I see that up on the top right, you can import a CSV file.
Yep.
In Salesforce, you had your opportunities, which we all know that's your pipeline reps enter. This looks a little bit more official, a little bit more intense. How do I keep this up to date? How do I edit these things and change the data as I learn more as a rep?
Well, I mentioned before, that's a great question. I mentioned before how your rep looks at it and he knows that in October, Eastwick, Maine is not going to order 53 activated carbon filters, right? They are going to go way above and beyond. He knows because he talked to the people. He's got the inside knowledge of the account. That's what your account manager should be doing, right? He can come in here and make an individual edit right there. Opportunity wise, it's going to be 250. Sales agreement wise, it might be 150. And again, I just put in these measures randomly. You can set whichever ones you want them to be able to manually update them yourself, and we can hit save. Now that information is reflected. You can also, I love this, a little bit of accountability. You can see that I'm logged in as you, by the way, Andy. I made that change to 150 on today at 9:36. So every change that's made in there, that's the individual change. You can do a mass update. Check this out. I'm going to update the opportunity quantity. We would set a list that's associated to maybe the ship to location, the product in question, and we want to increase by 15%. And then bang, it'll go through and update all of those records by 15% based off of that one quick click. Really cool feature. Absolutely love it.
Time saver for the reps, right? If they're really managing this stuff.
Hey, yeah, they have very minimal time to make a lot of clicks here. So we're trying to reduce those clicks down to as much as possible, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Now, I know you mentioned it at the beginning and you showed some things embedded, but is all this data in a structure that we can report on? What is Salesforce giving us to make it get all the insights out?
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're getting into the technical development level stuff that I absolutely love and relish in, and have bored my wife and daughters for months on. But there is an object within Salesforce that holds all of this. So I told you about that DPE. It takes all the information, summarizes it, crunches it, shuffles it back together, filters it out, and it drops that back into an object called the Advanced Account Forecast Fact, or FACT for short. So using that fact alone, using that fact alone, you can pull that into basic reports and dashboards, but more importantly, bring that into your CRMA, your analytics tools, and you can just go crazy with it from there, that point on. That's honestly where you get a lot of the information that comes into some of these dashboards like this. Um, or
And I know that Salesforce provides with the manufacturing cloud license, depending on which level you go with, they give you a lot of these pre-built analytics ready to go that is tied to that object so that you can hit the ground running and not have to start from scratch, which is very
Right.
powerful.
Right. And we are talking about making these manual updates. Those numbers now can reflect back to reports. So not only do you see what Salesforce says you're going to be selling, but you also can set it side by side with what Bert, your inside sales guy, says you're going to sell. And you can compare numbers. You can really see all of the information in one place. One of the biggest wins I love about the manufacturing cloud of recent releases. Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. Glad to show off.
Well, I tell you what, that was a fantastic overview, John, and I hope our viewers get a good feeling about what the manufacturing cloud is set up to do. We're going to take some more time in upcoming episodes to cover some of the other features. But again, if you combine that sales agreement stuff we did last time, show how this pulls it together and lets you visualize and edit and impact the forecast over time, you can sort of see how that this manufacturing cloud license is coalescing around your reps activities to give you a really good view that you'd probably have to cobble together from lots of other sources. So
Hmm. Absolutely.
I think we have mission accomplished today, John. Thank you again so much for putting this together. I will make sure that your forecasting stone gets sent down to you, and we'll see you all in our next manufacturing on demand podcast. Thank you.
Thanks.